right, folks, the work in Washington, D.C. continue on Black Lives Matter Plaza. It's day two of the demolition. 5 years ago, of course, Black Lives Matter was painted on this. This is 16th Street. It is a street that actually leads up to Lafayette Park that dead ends into the White House. Well, Republicans demanded that this be demolished or they were going to cut transportation funds for the city of Washington, D.C. Well, guess what? In their continuing resolution, they still want to cut $1 billion from the budget of D.C. Mayor Mural decided to remove the mural created to protest police brutality and racial injustices. Of course, it was put up in the summer of 2020. This is what it looked like. This is literally just outside of our Black Star Network studios. Megan Bailiff is the CEO and president of Equistriping, the pavement marking company that originally painted the letters. She called the dismantling of the plaza historically obscene. She joins us right now. Megan, glad to have you here. Somebody posted something on Twitter that I thought was stunning. And they said, it took more than 100 years, and we are continuing trying to bring down Confederate statues in this country. Yet 5 years after, less than 5 years after the death of George Floyd, this particular monument is already being destroyed in the nation's capital because Republicans have ordered it ordered DC to get rid of it.
Yes, it's very sad. I know that pressure has been on Mayor Bowser from the very beginning when she did this, and I do want to clarify because it doesn't seem to be clear in a lot of the reporting that the structure that they're destroying now is not what it was in the very beginning. She did that interesting guerrilla effort that spread around the world. But what they then proceeded to do was put in a permanent, and I agree with you, monument that I thought was the newest monument in D.C. and one that my company was very proud of being involved in. I think you can see behind me, that's the framed plans of our work that we did on that spectacular thing, and it is really sad to see it be taken away in just a blink of an eye.
So what you're talking about is, initially it was painted Black Lives
Matter, especially
but what ended up happening, and then there were
black
lots
and
of
brown,
events, there were protests, all sorts of things.
They try to wipe us out.
Businesses along the street
and messing
were
with the
complaining because they were like, hey, how long is this street going to be blocked off? And essentially, the 2 blocks
the school
from
stuff for the
16th
kids,
and K all the way to
Lafayette
Lafayette Park were blocked. And so what they did was, if y'all could freeze the video, you see right there those black pipes or whatever you want to call them.
It's in the middle of the street between the B and the L and the A.
That allowed for traffic to then be able to go in both directions on 16th Street. And so then what happened was, so you see right there, where the B and the L is.
It was more involved than that. These actually are 11,000 square feet of cement letters that they put in. They built an entire structure in the street that included that central path, the protected path area, and it was quite impressive. And my company spent the last 3 years refurbishing it and making it prepared. We were excited about what it meant as a gathering place for what will be happening in the city next year or may not be happening. If Trump gets his way, we may not be able to have the kinds of gatherings that we had there from its outset.
Aura protects your identity because it's more likely to be stolen than your car.
Especially when your identity looks like this.
I'm sorry about the commercials. They got paid their bills, so they gotta have commercials.
And the point there, what I was saying on where the B and the L is, that's actually where three different years we hosted our show on the anniversary of the death of George Floyd. And when his family was in town with attorney Ben Crump, they actually came down. You see right there, that was one of the years where we actually broadcast from that spot.
Yes, and that kind of gathering place, the impact that it had on my crew, being able to have a hand in putting that in, the thought that they had that this was going to be a generational opportunity for their family, for them to share with their friends and family about their impact in creating this space that reminded the country of the importance of that Black lives play in the whole development of our country.
DC Black Lives Matter Plaza
Well, it
to
is
be renamed.
quite unfortunate.
Mural
And again,
replaced.
the only reason it is being destroyed is because Republicans demanded it, and they told the mayor to rename it Black Lives Matter Plaza. They wanted it renamed Liberty Plaza.
That is what they're saying. I actually spoke to the mayor's office this morning. They called me to clarify something that hasn't been clarified publicly by them, I don't think, prior to this, to say that she actually has not agreed for that name change, that even though that's in the legislation, that isn't something that they are resisting that particular change to this. They are going to take down the...
Well, I can tell you right now, yeah, I can tell you right now, for me, I don't call DCA Reagan Airport. I call it by its letters, DCA. And ain't no way in hell I'm going to ever call that Liberty Plaza.
No way, no way. I agree with you 100%. When I first was reading the headline, when I first walked down there to see our work disappearing, and I read the headline that it was a reconstruction of the Black Lives Matter Plaza, and the headline that I read said, turning it into Liberty Plaza, I thought, boy, all those words together. It was just in the press. I don't know the source of it. I do know that the legislation calls for that renaming, but it's all just heartbreaking.
Indeed. Well, please give your best to your employees. Megan, thank you for your great work. And I am hopeful that if folk do the right thing in 2028, and we throw this bum and J.D. Vance and others out of the White House,
out the White House.
Those letters will
2028, that's a long time.
2025. And it will be forever known as Black Lives Matter Plaza.
I agree. I did want to add that I ran into a couple of council members from Savannah, Georgia when I was there, and the city planner that used to be the city planner in D.C., who oversaw the development of that plaza, is now the city planner in Savannah, and they are in fact going to build a Black Lives Matter Plaza in Savannah, and I hope that our company has something to do with that as well.
Well, that would be absolutely awesome, and if other cities do the exact same thing. Megan, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Larry, this is what happens when residents in D.C. get screwed because they're not a state. For Republicans, whoever controls Congress controls the budget of Washington, D.C., and they get treated like a yo-yo depending on who's in the White House or who controls Congress.
Yeah, and Mustafa and I both worked on the Hill. We've seen this numerous times in terms of, like you said, yo-yo back and forth, depending if it's Democratic or Republican administration. Obviously, the D.C. appropriations, the government, a government oversight committee, et cetera, that has, oversight over, what happens in logistics and funding in D.C.
Man, sound like you're under a tunnel.
This, people describe these efforts as anti-DEI as an umbrella. My argument is these are really pro-Jim Crow efforts, and we should really, in terms of how we communicate it, describe it as that, because they were trying to reverse every single, accomplishment, recognition of the struggle, the successes of Black folks in America. And for those individuals who supported this administration, and any of these individuals, I know we talked a lot about that White House event, Black History Month event a couple weeks ago. It is actually despicable, and I believe our ancestors have to be turning over their graves. Because how could you support an administration that is clearly anti-Black and has done everything it possibly do to erase any of the successes or challenges that Black folks have faced? Listen, the murder of George Floyd was not just a national issue; it was an international movement in terms of people throughout the country, obviously throughout the diaspora, but folks in throughout the world who are standing with people of African descent and saying that the disproportionate rate which black folks are killed is not acceptable. But how the tides have turned over the last couple of years. And once again, this is similar to what we see in the history of the United States, the red summer of 1990 and other places where you've seen white resentment as a result of what is appearance of black progress. But we have to continue to stand steadfast against this, Roland. This is unacceptable, and once again, this is another attempt of erasure in terms of black folks in America.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It is absolutely, positively anti-black, Randy.
I don't think that we can deny that there is an absolute attack on us. And even things like, this monument, which we see it as, they want to wipe it out. And we need to focus on that. We need to take it seriously because we are at defense right now. We're not playing offense, we're playing defense. They want to act as if our contributions don't exist. They're wiping out any trace of any history that we've had to this country. And they want anything that reminds us of where we are, that we have to remind people that our lives do matter. They want it taken away. So, I mean, the hate is palpable. It's not something that we can deny anymore. And I think it's good that we have this warning, though. I think that it is a call for us to unite, that we don't have time to play around. We don't have time to be against one another. We need to rely on media sources like yours because this is all we've got. I just think it's just very, very clear. As I'm in DC with you and I've seen the destruction of this happening. It to me symbolizes if people weren't getting it before, now they have a visual representation of what's happening. People are very clear about how they feel about us. And we need to act in kind and not act in the way they necessarily want us to, because I do believe that they want us to get out in these streets and protest and so they can enact martial law. I really do believe that is what's going on. But I believe that we need to react by planning and becoming stronger and unifying as a people.
Well, but here's the deal, though. Folk have to, we talk about stay woke. They got to, frankly, wake the hell up, Mustafa. This is what happens when you sit at home. This is what happens when you don't vote. This is what happens when you whine and complain, oh, Democrats aren't doing this, aren't doing that. Well, we know damn well what Democrats, in this case, were doing and Republicans want to have done. And so I hope all of these people who were just sitting here, just running their mouths and trash at Vice President Kamala Harris now realize there is a real difference between a Harris administration and a Trump-Musk administration.
Yeah, all that is facts. And hopefully folks are waking up. It's amazing how we wake up and then we are lulled back to sleep. It's interesting because Black Lives Matter was about remembrance, right? And inside of that remembrance was actually about how when people come together and reclaim their power, how they can make change happen. That doesn't mean that everything gets answered, but it does show folks that it is possible to begin the journey toward the North Star that many of us have often talked about. And that scares those folks who have been oppressors and are used to being able to do, say, and control folks. So the visual of Black Lives Matter, caused them a lot of consternation. It caused them fear because they realized that when Black and brown folks and indigenous folks and other types of allies come together, that we can actually move things in this country. There's still a lot of work that needs to happen. When this happened earlier, I had to write a little bit. I'm just going to hit you with just a real quick 30 seconds of it. It said Black Lives Matter Plaza. They came with hands heavy with silence, dragging buckets of erasure, and if paint could swallow a revolution, as if footsteps could forget where they were headed, as if tongues could be tied after tasting freedom. But we are louder than pavement. Our breath breaks barriers. Our fists carve echoes in the air. Our words rise higher than your hush. Black Lives Matter written in the sky, a love letter scrawled in the clouds. Black Lives Matter reflecting in millions of eyes, blinking back the sun, unblinking the fight. Black Lives Matter. Not just on the street, but in the soil. Not just in the paint, but in the pulse. Not just in a whisper, but a wall, a song, a storm. Not just surviving, but thriving, shining, reborn. Black lives still matter.
Well, they indeed do. But what you're dealing with here are Republicans who do not give a damn about black lives at all. And guess what? All of those black MAGA imps who were at the White House just dancing and shaking their asses at the Black History Month reception, it's amazing how quiet they are. They're real quiet. Quiet about this, quiet about them ending the lawsuit in Cancer Alley impacting black people in Louisiana, quiet about so many things.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. And right now we're accepting investors in our $17 million round to revolutionize the future of social media. Today, for just $399, you can own 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $6.65 a share. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. While the big platforms have grown too massive and disconnected from their users, Fanbase is building a platform where creators and users truly come first. We've already raised $8.6 million from everyday investors who believe in this vision, and now you can join them. This is your chance to invest in a social media tech company with over 1 million users that is disrupting media by allowing anyone to reach all of their following and monetize their content from day one. The market is changing, big platforms are failing to serve their users, and Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now. Invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the future of social media.
Chime. Mobile banking.
Commercial. I think that was it. Who's coming up? Jasmine Crockett, Decision and Challenging.
Support for Overheard with Evan Smith comes from Hilco Partners, the Texas Government Affairs Consultancy, Claire and Carl Stewart, Christine and Philip Dial, and the Eller Group, specializing in crisis management, litigation, and public affairs communication. EllerGroup.com.
I'm Evan Smith. She's a two-term congresswoman from Dallas who's emerged as the raised voice and clenched fist of the opposition to Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and their ilk. She's Jasmine Crockett. This is Overheard. A platform and a voice is a powerful thing. You really turn the conversation around about what leadership should be about. Are we blowing this? Are we doing the thing we shouldn't be doing by giving in to the attention junkie? As an industry, we have an obligation to hold ourselves to the same standards that we hold everybody else to. This is Overheard. Congresswoman, great to see you. Thank you so much.
Great to be here with you.
For being here. How's it going? That's kind of an existential question, but like in a literal sense, you're in the middle of everything. We only get to watch from the outside. You're on the inside. How's it going?
It's not going well.
Yeah. Say more about that.
Yeah, and I think that first of all, let me thank everyone that's here. The reason that I do the work that I do is because of you. And I try to do everything that I can to make sure that I'm continuously focused on the people that are back home, the people that are relying on me to be an authentic and unwilling voice for them. And so I just want to say thank you again to each of you. I am going to say that it's really bad because not only are we enduring something we've never experienced before, as we came up on the State of the Union address, we started to look through history and figure out, what does one do when a dictator is coming through? Like, I mean, like, we were trying to figure out, like, what are the options? And it is true that we are in a time that we've never seen before. We have someone that does not believe in co-equal branches of government, and then we have people that are party to those other co-equal branches that have decided that they would cede their constitutional oaths and responsibilities to kneel to, I don't even know if it's Trump, right? Like it feels as if Elon is really like running everything and Trump is just hanging out, signing whatever executive order somebody puts in front of him. And when he's not doing that, he's just posted up at Mar-a-Lago, playing golf, right? And so Elon hasn't seen all the waste because we've, spent a whopping more than $10 million already on Trump and golfing in Mar-a-Lago. I'm sure there's a few things we could do with that $10 million. that would be more productive. And what's most concerning to me, and it's why I'm so happy that I'm specifically here with this platform, is that there is not only an attack on us as Americans, and when I say us, it's not Democrats. I specifically say us as Americans because there were those that really thought that Donald Trump was going to make their lives better. And they went out and voted for him because of that, right? But right now they're like, well, wait a minute, veterans are being fired. And, you know, what's going to happen to the VA? Because they're talking about they want to get rid of 80,000 jobs at the VA. And if you know anything about the VA, people have been telling us more and more is needed, not less, right? Or the people that don't understand that when you're looking at something like the Consumer Protection Bureau, that they actually have fees that they charge, and a lot of those fees go to take care of a lot of the salaries. Like, there are no savings really that we will see by firing people. But I can tell you that by firing people and with costs going up, that a recession is upon us. And that's not good for anyone.
Do you think that the economy is, I mean, there have been signs that people are becoming concerned about the state of the economy.
Yeah.
We'll come back to the people who voted for this and what they think about this in a second, but you're worried about the economy.
Oh, I absolutely am.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to be this way. And I understood that we went through hyperinflation as it relates to COVID-19. Like, literally, it's like, wait a minute, one day we're paying this, and then
put this outside.
It balloons.
And that
then that inflation started to slow, right? And then, you know, we had an administration that was looking into the greed. We even had an admission from Kroger
Put in that bowl.
that they were price gouging, right? They were taking advantage. And so
that white bowl down there.
An administration that's looking into price gouging. We have an administration that, you know, when we were getting rid of junk
that clear bowl, you see that clear bowl down there?
Things such as the overdraft fees, right? Like, you know, you'd end up paying $35 per overdraft fee. They were like, that is extortion, right? So they were capped at $5.
I'm sorry, your Jada came
now,
down
please
here.
explain to me why it makes sense that Republicans are like, no. We want the banks to go back to extorting people, right?
Yeah, let me come back to the point you made. So we had an election. We believe the election was conducted fairly. Unlike some have alleged previous elections.
Unless and until, I'm hearing the audience, unless and until I have evidence otherwise. Yes.
Yes, right. Okay. Right.
I am still data-driven. I'm a data-driven person.
This will be a different conversation. We're going to go down that path. Okay, so we assume that the election was conducted fairly, and the president won not just the Electoral College, but he won by a significant margin.
Yeah.
The popular vote. Didn't get to 50%, but he won the popular vote by several million. The point is, people voted for him.
Yes.
The question is whether people voted for this.
Yes.
So then what do we think about how the people who voted for him are viewing the moment we're in?
I think that there's a lot of regret. I think that the sycophants, there's nothing that you can say about them. Like, there is a real cult that is taking place, and they follow their leader, and they believe whatever he says, and they're just going to get in line. And then there are those that are like, well, wait a minute. Like, why is it that I don't have health care?